Hey French fries! How you doing? That's good. Well, anyway, we're doing part 3 of 4 of how to make these little bears, and if you like it, please hit like, subscribe to my channel, hit that bell icon, and just to let you know, they will be in the description below, parts 1 and 2, and let's get started.
Yay! It's back to the head, guys! And all I'm doing is just making sure that I have all the fur texture. And I'm just making sure that I don't squish his entire head so that I don't mess up all the beautiful little details that I have done so far. And I don't touch the inside of the ear, but make sure that you put your finger in the way and do the little fur texture on the outside of the ear so that it matches the entire body. And once that is done, he is ready for his last bake at 275 degrees for 20 minutes. See, this is what happens when you don't compress your tin foil enough. But don't worry, we're gonna fix it right now. So all we have to do is just basically make a cast. All you're gonna do is just put on that clay, and it's gonna be a little bit thicker than usual, only because of that little crack. You have to make sure that it goes in through the little crack, and that way it kind of like sutures it together. And it really does look like a cast. So cute. But anyway, you are going to do this for the entire body. Just make sure that you do the same amount onto the entire body, because you don't want to have one big foot and one little foot. Okay? I'm getting up higher, going through the middle of her legs. Oh my doggo, you're so cute. And now it's time for the belly. You gotta make sure that she has a plumpy belly. So we're gonna keep on putting that clay on there just to make her a little bit more foofy. And the same thing with her booty. She needed a little bit more plumpies. And now all I'm gonna do with the rest is just smooth out everything. And this is very important, because if you don't, all of the fur texture kind of like looks weird when you start doing it. So make sure that it's all smoothed out and beautiful, and we're gonna keep on going. So even with the nooks and crannies, I do use my little pointy tool just so that I can get into those little nooks and crannies, just so that it's all silky smooth. And let me get those arms done. A little bit more detail. Alright, and then the head is the same thing. You're going to just put on all of that clay on there, put it onto the back as well. Smooth out the neck first, because it's a little easier to make sure that it's all smooth down there so you don't mess up the smoothness of the rest. And then you're going to take off the excess of the clay that is way too much on the head. You gotta make sure that it's just smooth, smooth, smooth. And like I said, just keep taking off the extra chunks that you don't need. And there we go, that's how she should look like. And now we're gonna do the little hands. And it's the same exact thing that I did before. Just roll a piece of clay and you're gonna squish it. And then I rolled a piece of clay as a snake so that I could do the little wrists around her hands. And then, as always, I always forget something. That's my motto. So I decided to take off her hands, re-roll them, and start getting the wire. the main reason I wanted to do the wire is because she's going to be holding a balloon. And so all I do is just twist the wire that was in the hand, put the wire through, and then just clamp it in. So that way you know that wire isn't going anywhere. It's the same thing with the other one. See, just spin it, the little loop, slip it through, and voila! It has the little wire to make the balloon. And now it's time to put back on those hands. And all I'm doing is just doing a little circle first, and then I flatten out, and then I just wrap it around that wire so it looks like she's holding that balloon wire. See, it's a little closer right there. And instead of closing it, because I noticed that the wire was still too exposed, I decided to put a little extra on there so that it's kind of like wrapped in between. And then I take off the excess that wasn't in the actual hand and I just smooth it out. Now, don't pull a jaja here, guys, okay? Guys, be more careful, okay? I've been doing this for a while, so it's just me taking shortcuts. She's holding her string for the balloon. So, anyway, let's keep on going. And now, this little part was going to be like the skirt that I was gonna start. I was doing this so much. I literally did it 6 times and it just was not coming out. So now I decided to get a straw to kind of smooth it out. And of course, I do this. Ding and whoop! Fell on the floor. It wanted some dirt. And now all I'm doing is just pretending like this is a tortilla, and I'm just rolling it out and making sure that it doesn't stay stuck on my little platform that I have. We're gonna keep on pulling it out, and then we're gonna use the X-Acto knife to just trim it. And then all I'm doing is just cutting it to size. I wanted to do the loop around because in that way it's a lot easier to make those little ruffles that goes around it. But at first it's a little bit too long, so I just keep cutting it down to size and cut off the ends, and then all I do is just wrap it around. And on its own, it actually does do these little ruffles. So all you're gonna do is just make sure you use your fingers to make sure that they just stay that way. And then at the back, you just tie them in together, and voila, there is your skirt. And then I go a little farther than that. I decide to actually put a ribbon all the way around the skirt, and just take out that piece, put it off, and then you're just gonna go under it, and you're just going to, well, never mind, I'm not gonna do it then. Well, anyway, you're gonna keep on doing this, make sure it's long enough, and then you're going to take off the excess, and then you're just gonna smooth it right in. And then I grab these little ends, and then what I do with these is that I do the little V shapes so that I can do the little ribbon in the back. And then I kind of move it like was kind of like in the air so that it looks right. And then all I do is do a little teardrop shape, and I squish just the ends and the top a little bit, and then I flip it inward to make the little bow. And then I just do a little circle and just make sure that they're connected, and voila, there's her ribbon. And then I'm doing a little fur texture. And the nice thing about the skirt is that I don't need to go super far with it. So it was kind of like me having a break. Because then that way I don't need to do all that fur. And then all you're doing is just making sure that you do all of the fur texture going all the way up to her neck. And remember her little hands, just make sure that you are not squishing them or touching any of the fur texture, because then you will have to do it again. So it's just patience and confidence in knowing that you can do this. You are great. And of course she kind of is indecent. She's kind of showing her underskirt, but too bad. And then all this fur texture took me about 20 minutes. And guess what time it is? I'm sorry, guys. It's time to end. And I hope you guys are looking forward to part 4. It's gonna come in on Saturday. And I hope you guys see it. And I'll see you in the next video.